Hey folks, how you doing? This is week number 11, which is our 10th working week of the 12-week Fit in 20 workout challenge. It's actually 13 weeks because the final week that we're going to do is going to be a deload workout like we did in week 7, just to make sure that you give yourself a rest, because I know some of you are going to want to come back in and do these workouts again. And also be aware that the next challenge that we're going to be doing after week 13 is a positive emotions in motion challenge. So it's a challenge in order to help you work with overcoming any issues you might have with emotional eating. Okay, it's not going to be a workout challenge. It's going to be an information and mental, emotional, kind of spiritual exercises. I'm going to teach you new skills, give you new tools and ideas on how to cope with harmful, negative self-talk, overwhelming emotions, or just plain old-fashioned negative emotions that tend to bring you down and maybe make you want to eat the wrong stuff a little too much too often. So anyways, that's just a little sneak preview. This is our last week of the metronome workouts. The final 2 weeks, the final 2 working weeks that is, are going to be something a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit of metronome, although we won't be using the metronome, but we're going to be using the 2-minute workout concept and a little bit of the circuit concept that we were doing prior to the metronome training. So I want to expose you to as many different ways of working out as possible, like I've been saying, because I want you to be able to make a decision on how you want to work out going forward, and I want to give you some different options so that you can figure out what you like and what you don't like, and also give you different options so that you can just do different things if you don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again, okay? So today, we're going to do our usual thing. I just have to get a stepper because we'll need the stepper for our lunge pattern. By the usual thing, I mean we're going to have one squat pattern workout or exercise and one lunge pattern exercise. We're going to do it to the beat of the metronome, and we're going to go for 2 minutes. We're going to do 3 sets of the squat pattern, 3 sets of the lunge pattern. And as always, of course, I'm going to give you different options of what you can do. Make sure you have your metronome going. I'm not going to go into all the details because by this time you're going to be metronome experts. You know the app, it's Metronome Beats. I'm just going to call mine up here. Where is it? Where are you hiding? There you are. Okay. So I'm going to start it. Let's see, what do we got here? We got 75 beats a minute. I think that's probably a good beat to demonstrate the first exercise, which is a combination squat and then a kettlebell swing, okay? So I'm going to turn that off, and I'm just going to explain the exercise to you first, the squat versus the kettlebell swing, and then I'm going to show you how to put them together to do them to the beat of the metronome. Most of you have done plenty of squats. If you're able to do them, I mean, some of you might not have been able to do them because of bad knees, bad hips, bad ankles, and remember, as always, I'm asking you to work at your level of capability, okay? And also, part of that is some of you just might not have, or might not be right now in the mental, or the emotional, or the spiritual place to push yourself to do squatting, because squatting it's a harder exercise, right? So, you know, just do the easier ones that I show you, and just because they're easier, they're not, it's not that you're not working as hard, right? You're working to your level, right? But I'm assuming from what I've heard that many of you have been doing the squats, and that's good. And so, you know how to do them, but I just want to go over the form again. Feet shoulder width apart, toes pointed out 10, 15 degrees, nice tight core, nice straight back. And I bend my knees and my hips at the same time, and I sit down. I'm trying to come down to parallel, so my thighs are parallel to the ground and coming back up. So my knees and hips move at the same time as I go up and as I come down. Okay? I breathe in, out, in, out, in, out. You can also do half squats or quarter squats, whatever you feel capable of. That's all fine, okay? So that's a squat. And then a kettlebell swing, a little bit different. If you have a kettlebell or some kind of a weight you can hold on to, it's always better to do these with a little bit of weight than with not. So I'm just going to close the gate because my dogs are going to come in here. You can hear them. It's always better to do it with a little bit of weight because, believe it or not, your arms fly too much if you don't have something to slow them down a little bit, okay? Because you're using your glutes, you're squeezing your glutes, and you're creating momentum to throw your arms up by firing your glutes, okay? So unlike a squat, which is bending, okay? Bending both at the hips and at the knees, all you're doing with a kettlebell swing is you're bending at the hips. It's a hip hinge, okay? So I'm throwing the weight between my legs and then squeezing my butt to throw the weight up, okay? So I'm bending over, throwing the weight up, bend, throw, bend, throw. And I'm consciously squeezing my butt together fast at the bottom of the movement to throw the weight up. It's actually not my shoulder muscles working to pull my arms up. It's the momentum created by firing my glutes as I come up, which is why it's kind of cool to hold on to a weight, if even a light one, because what'll happen if I'm not is if I'm firing my glutes fast enough, I'm gonna throw my arms right up to the ceiling, okay? So that's kettlebell swing. Now, if you're gonna do these two together, you're gonna hold the kettlebell in front, you're gonna squat, come up, bend over, toss. Squat, come up, bend, squeeze. When I say toss, I'm talking about squeezing your butt to throw the thing up, right? Squat, up, bend, squeeze. Squat, up, bend, squeeze. Squat, up, bend, squeeze. Squat, up, bend, squeeze. Okay? So that's a 1, 2, 3, 4 count that you do to the metronome. Let me just turn my metronome on, show you what it's like. Hopefully you can hear that. Okay, so that's the main exercise. The second one, step down, will be the one that we did last week, okay? And I'm saying so because I'm assuming that you would have progressed week over week, and that because you trained last week, you're a little bit better this week. And that is, if you remember, the squat and the knee up. And as the knee's coming up, you are snapping it. Snapping, remember, because we're trying to develop power. And that's why I'm big on the first exercise, the squat with the kettlebell swing, really squeezing the butt to try and fire the weight up, okay? So that's number 2. Number 3 could be a squat up, delt raise, squat up, front delt raise, or squat up, shoulder press. And it doesn't have to be a full squat either, right? Okay, full squat, way down here. Half squat, just to here. Quarter squat, just to here. Whatever works, okay? You don't have to do the full range of motion. And that's true, by the way, for the first exercise. If you still want to do the kettlebell swing thing, just squat part of the way in kettlebell swing. Squat part of the way, kettlebell swing, versus squat all the way down and kettlebell swing, okay? Just adjust it to whatever works for you. Or you can just do a squat. If you don't want to include the arms, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, remember, you're setting that kettlebell, because you're going for 2 minutes, to a speed that's going to allow you to do just 2 minutes worth of work. We're at about the 2-minute mark. Your breathing is going to be at a level, your heart rate's going to be at a level, you're going to feel like you're working at about 7 or 8 out of 10 in intensity, and you're really not able to keep up with the metronome at the end of the 2 minutes, you know, and that's assuming that your fitness level, by the way, can handle that. Remember your maximum heart rate. If you can track it with an Apple Watch or a Fitbit or a Withings device, should be no more than 220 less your age, okay? That should be where your maximum heart rate taps out. So, those are the first options, and of course, feel free to do the tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. I'm doing that round-the-clock thing, okay? Or just forward, backwards, forwards, backwards, alternating legs, right? Or I can do any combination thereof, or like last week, the 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I slow the kettlebell down just a little bit, you can do these leaning on something, leaning against the wall, or not. And also, if you want to mix the upper body with the lower body, do tick, tock, tick, tock. Switch legs, tick, tock, tick, tock. Switch legs, tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. And any combination of hip flexion, hip extension, hip abduction, whatever you like, okay? Whatever works for you. Go at your level. You know I've been big on this whole thing about competing against you and you only, okay? There is no need to try and pit yourself against other people, and you might see them in the group posting, hey, I did the whole workout, I did the squat kettlebell swing, and I was able to really do it and go at a beats per minute of whatever. Nobody so far has reported on how many beats per minute they're using on the metronome, but whatever they post, remember, that's them competing against them. You're you competing against you. You know, I was in a powerlifting competition one time and I deadlifted 407 pounds, and boy was I ever happy about that. I could have probably done significantly more, but I'd hurt my back. And yet, there were guys there deadlifting 750 pounds. It would have been insane of me to try and compete against them, because there's no way, even at my strongest, even at my best, that I would have been able to get anywhere near that. That's just because of who I am, my genetics, my body structure. I can just compete against me, okay? So you're competing against you, don't worry what everybody else is doing. Second exercise is a lunge pattern. It's a step-up pattern, but we're also doing a little bit of plyometric ballistic stuff, okay? All we're doing, instead of the step-ups like we did last week, is we're switching feet, okay? We're gonna, and you'll see what I mean, we're gonna switch, 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 switch. That's your 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure your strength, your power, your balance, your stability, everything is really, really, really up there, okay? In order to do this. This is a hard one. It's certainly a hard one to keep going for the whole 2 minutes, all right? But make sure that you're in really good condition and you can handle this, because the secret is both your feet land at the same time. So it's I switch, land, 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 land. Again, it's like the plyometric jumping stuff that we were doing before. My head's not really going up and down, because if that happens, it's like foot, 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 okay? And that's not what I want. I want both of them hitting at the same time. This is a challenging exercise, folks, okay? We're in the 3rd week of the metronome training, and so I want to give you one really challenging exercise out of the 2 exercises. Today it's the lunge pattern. Tuesday it's going to be the squat pattern. You're going to love what I have in mind for you there. Anyways, remember, work at your level. This challenge is balance, stability, everything. Make sure that you feel comfortable doing this one. If not, I want you to step it down, okay? I want you to go to the step, 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 and choose a stepper that's high if you want. I mean, over here, because I'm busy still putting some pictures up, I've got this stepper, this thing here, that's pretty stable. I could step all the way up here if I wanted, right? So I could go step, 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 step. This is a pretty sturdy stepper, or I could go on the bottom step, right? Which is a little higher than that one. Choose a height that really challenges you, right? That's a way of progressing it, you know? This one's the lowest, this one's a little higher, this one's the highest. So if you wanted to know if you were progressing week after week, push yourself for the 2 minutes on this one at a certain number of beats per minute, where you kind of can't keep up with the metronome. And then the next week, try this one, and the next week, try this one, right? This is all about what you can do, working at the level that you're capable of for you. So that's the next one down, is trying just the steps, or step, step, press, press, step, step, press, press, step, step, press, press, step, press, press. Forgot change feet. Make sure you're alternating your feet. And again, if your shoulders are bothering you, feel free to do the delt raise at the top of that motion, okay? Maybe this isn't challenging enough for you, that's okay. You can also do the out, twist, back, back, out, twist, back, back, that's an option, okay? Or, like I said, just the simplest of all these is low, like on a bottom step, just stepping up and stepping off, okay? And, of course, all of the usual suspects, they apply as well. You can do these with or without your hands. I'll show you the options as we go through, okay? So, there it is, the 2 exercises. We're gonna do 3 sets of each for 2 minutes with a metronome beat that you think will have you unable to follow the metronome at about the 2-minute mark, okay? So, I want you to choose which exercise you're gonna do. If it's a kettlebell swing with whatever kind of weight you're holding on to, it could be a dumbbell. Let me just show you what that looks like, by the way. If you're doing a kettlebell swing with a dumbbell, then you would hold the dumbbell like this, okay? See? So really, it's no different than holding a kettlebell. See if you can see it move away. Right? Might be a little too dark to see. Or you can hold on to a bottle of water or a jug of water, whatever, okay? I showed you last week that if you've got a little, I guess a liter bottle of water, that's about 2 pounds. You got a gallon, 4 liters of water, that's about 8 pounds. And then they got those big bottles of water, those big jugs of water, those 5-gallon bottles of water for water coolers. Those things are about 45 pounds. So there's lots you can do if you don't have weights in the house to challenge yourself, okay? All right, so here we go. Choose your exercise, get ready. I'm gonna set the timer for 2 minutes, and then I'm gonna count the exercises off for you, okay? And we're gonna start in 3, 2, 1, and go. There it is, first set, week 11 of the challenge, okay? So I can squat, kettlebell swing, squat, kettlebell swing. Just breathe however it comes natural. Okay, that doesn't work, not a problem. We might just want to do the squats with the hip flexion. Right. Squat, press. Squat, delt raise. Or the usual. Of course, if your knees are bugging you, just keep the legs straight. Not a problem. Lots of opportunity. Legs straight, Mike. Do as I say, not as I do. Circles, right? To the slower metronome count. This one works really good balance, by the way, if you're not holding on to anything. I'm keeping the knee on the ground bent. I'm looking at a spot on the floor. Fortunately, I have too many of those. I still have some drywall compound from my contractor I gotta clean up off the floor. Okay, there it is. First set already done. I'm gonna rest for 1.5 minutes, and then we're gonna get back at it. How was that? What exercise did you choose? Check in with yourself. Was the exercise I chose too hard? Was it maybe too easy? Did I hit a point this week? Because remember, this is the 10th working week, right? 10 out of 12. Did I hit a point where I think I might be able to actually up my game a little bit? And you know what? Here's the thing, I've got all these great suggested exercises to do. with a metronome beat, but maybe there's an exercise combination that we did back when we were doing the circuits that you think would fit into a metronome pattern, and it's harder for you than these ones to do, and you want to try it. Go ahead, do it. Just, you know, like I always say, be smart, be safe, but challenge yourself, right? Push yourself just a little bit extra and ask yourself, could I do just a little bit more? Or it might mean, with the current pattern, speeding the metronome up, 5 beats a minute, 10 beats a minute, okay? It might mean using a heavier weight on the kettlebell swing or on whatever exercise you choose, okay? And by the way, if you're just doing the squats to the metronome, you can hold on to weights and heavier weights if you have them as well, including bottles of water. Lots of ways to increase the resistance. So, check in with your body as well. How's it feeling? Any joint pain? You know me and joint pain don't get along very well. I'm not crazy about it. So if you're experiencing joint pain, that's telling you something. That's telling you that probably, another exercise would be better for you. Okay, all right. So, reset it for 2 minutes. And we're going to start again. Get your metronome going. And we're going to start in 3, 2, 1, and go. Squat, swing. Or squat, press. Or squat, don't raise. Usual suspects. Adding in my arms. Going around the clock still. Changing it up. Think about this. Okay, I went to the front that time. Yeah, that one's almost, kind of think about that one too much. Straight legs, right? The knees are bothering you? Not a problem. And just squatting. Just squatting's fine. Just follow the metronome and the squatting pattern. Just make sure you're staying on your heels, right? Joints aren't hurting. That's what's important. We'll finish with the main exercise. Again, how are things feeling, right? If the mid-exercise and you're finding that your joints are bothering you, it's telling you something, you might have to switch to a different exercise pattern, a different movement pattern mid-exercise. That's fine. Always be safe. If you made it this far, check in with yourself. Maybe actually when you get time, if you can, go to my YouTube channel and look at the exercises that we did in the very first week. Take a look at them and ask yourself, how did you feel when you were doing those exercises? And how are you feeling now that you're doing the exercises you are now? Ask yourself, how have I progressed? How does it feel like I progressed? What would it be like to go back to week number 1 and to do those exercises the way I did them then? I'm willing to bet if you look at them, you go, wow, those would be a lot easier today. Because of your continued hard work, what's happened is you've progressed. We've been using the same movement patterns, just different ways of doing it, because I want to keep training the same basic things. You know, I've talked about it before. Balance, stability, posture, strength, power, endurance, all of these wonderful things, right? And we've been doing that all the way through. But now you've gotten better. So if you went back and you did those exercises again, I guarantee you would feel stronger. You'd probably almost feel like, wow, this is easy. I can't believe that when I did them the first time, they actually felt a lot hard, a little hard, a bit hard, whatever it was like for you. Some of you may have been in great shape when you started and it was just, it's all been easy, but I'm willing to bet that most of you feel a certain level of progress. So check in about that, because it's important to recognize our gains. Okay, you ready? We're gonna do, this is the third set we're gonna do of the squat pattern, and we're starting, start your metronome, and we're back at it in 3, 2, 1, and go. Here we go. Or just the squat and press. Whatever works. Shoulders no good, not a problem. Squat, side don't raise, or a front don't raise. Or, like we were doing last week, whatever works. Or just squats. Usual suspects. These ones are really good, by the way. Especially if you're not doing them against the wall. I would challenge anybody, actually, to try these. If you've just been doing squats and all the other stuff. Why? Well, I'm on one leg. This is a real balance trainer here, right? 2 legs, very stable. 1 leg, not so much. Especially if I keep my legs straight. This feels even less stable. Shoulder press, shoulder press, shoulder press, shoulder press, or delt raise. Delt raise. Right? Whatever works. There we go. It's amazing how quickly this thing goes by. It's only a 20-minute workout. It's pretty cool. Short rest. I know it's kind of exhausting. And remember, if we get to, because the rest periods are only 1.5 minutes long, right? So if we get to the end of the rest period and you're like, Mike, I cannot continue anymore, that's fine. Just hit pause. Start it again when you're ready, okay? But next, we're going into the lunge pattern. So, if you haven't already, you may want to pause the video and play around with what lunge pattern you want to follow, okay? Try the one, if you have good balance, good stability, good strength, good power. And by good strength and good power, I mean you can pretty much squat low, snappily, okay? You get in and out of a chair, no problem. You get in and out of a car, no problem. You can move pretty quickly. You know, you're in pretty good physical condition. Then try the first one that I showed you where you're changing the position of your feet by jumping, 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 jumping on the stepper, okay? Make sure it's safe. Make sure, hopefully, you have something nearby that you can hold on to if you misstep, okay? You want to be able to make sure that you are always safe, okay? And remember, whatever platform you choose to jump up on, make sure it is sturdy, okay? Like that stepper there that I had, I wouldn't, or the step to like get up to the ceiling if I'm painting or something, I wouldn't even use that if I was jumping, jumping, jumping. I would want something like a stepper actually that's longer and wider and has a much broader base of support. So keep that in mind. Okay, so here's the first of the lunge pattern. Get ready. You've chosen which one you're going to do. Set your metronome to the number of beats per minute you think you can handle. And we're going to start in 3, 2, 1, and go. Here we go. So, holding the count to the metronome. Remember, this one is challenging. It's the last week of the metronome training. So we're going to give you one, like I said, of the 2 movement patterns. It's a real challenge. Next week, Tuesday, it'll be the squat. If that's too much, you can even change mid-set, right? Something that's challenging enough, you're stepping up really high, right? Or like last week. I'm going to challenge your balance. Look at this. Hold the leg up. You have to change your feet quick at the bottom. Stay up with the metronome, okay? Or, don't raise. Whatever works. Maybe just a lunge, reverse lunge with a twist. Forward lunge, reverse lunge with a twist, doesn't matter, okay? Or, you may just want to lunge to the metronome. Or half lunges. I'm just doing half lunges right here, right? Whatever works. Choose something that works for you. Usual suspects. Like we did the first set, those are all okay. Okay. Geez, this stuff goes fast. That's 4 sets of 6 sets total that we're supposed to do today for week 11 of the 12-week Fit in 20 workout challenge. And remember, there's going to be a 13th week because I want to be sure to give you a deload workout at the very end, and I want you to do that. Even if you're not planning on continuing immediately, I'm really going to encourage you to try and do it, okay? Because at the end of the deload, you might be ready to continue. It can get overwhelming after we've been doing working weeks over and over and over. We think, oh, I just really want to take a break. But if we take an active break, okay, where I'm really not working that hard and I'm doing all the movement patterns and I'm just giving my body a break, but I'm still moving it. It might be that at the end of that week, it's like, no, I can get back in. I can get back at it. That's okay, right? So, like I said, this is the last of the metronome weeks. We are going to have 2 more weeks of kind of quasi-circuit training, but with a twist, so some new stuff, and then a deload week that you can do on your own, okay? Okay, we're back in 10 seconds, so get ready. Get your metronome set up. And we're gonna start back in. Just get it up to 2 minutes. Gotta reset my timer. 3, 2, 1, and go. Here we go. Too much, not a problem. Right? We're just, whatever works. Remember to make it harder, choose a higher step. Steppers aren't that expensive actually, so it might be a good investment if you plan on continuing your workouts. Or just the lunges, reverse, twist, back. Slow it down a bit if you need to. Just regular lunges. Hip flexion with the step. You're going to add in the shoulder press. You got to have quick feet at the bottom to keep up with the metronome. Right? you want, whatever works. Usual suspects. Round the clock. There we go. I was amazed at how quickly these things go by. How are you feeling? Check in with yourself, because in a minute and a half, we're coming into the final set. Week 10, imagine that. If you've stuck with it, good for you. And you know what, if you haven't stuck with it, but you're just following through today's video, don't take that as me saying bad for you, right? That's not what I'm saying at all. For the people who have stuck with it, awesome, okay? And for you who may not have been able to, give yourself a break and give yourself a pat on the back. Because you know what the cool thing is? These videos, these exercises, these routines, they're all there on my YouTube channel. Just like and subscribe, and you'll be able to go back to day 1, week 1, anytime you want. Not completing this doesn't mean a thing. It doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't mean you did it wrong. It doesn't mean that you don't have the guts, the stamina, whatever. It just means you're not ready. Or it might also mean that you don't like this kind of working out. I have these kinds of conversations with people all the time. We're like, I'm not sure if I should train with you or not. And you know, we get honest and they're like, well, what do you like to do? Well, I really like to walk, I don't swim, and I don't like to lift weights. And I'm like, well, I mean, you can try the weightlifting with me, or we can try something else. You can try just going out for a walk and see how that works for you, right? Everybody's different. Me, I'm a weightlifter, I don't like cardio. You may be more cardio, not so much a weightlifter. Or like I said last week, you might be more of a yoga person, right? You might like swimming, you might like whatever it is, Nordic walking. We just need to find something that keeps us active. Right? Being active is the key, right? There's so many benefits to being physically active. And I'm not sure if you know, if you struggle with diabetes, being physically active is one of the #1 things that you can do to reduce the impact that your blood sugar has on your quality of life. Okay, you can really, really work to keep your blood sugar down by being more active. It works in most people. Some people, for some reasons, they're non-responders, but oftentimes it really works. Okay, here we go. Last set. Get your metronome going, because we're going to start in 3, 2, 1, and go. Here we go. Doing this one for all 3 sets, and your heart rate is probably through the roof by the end of it, and that's all to the good, okay? Whatever works. Demonstrating all the options. Right? Pick the one that works for you. You're no better, no worse. They're you working at your own level. Okay? Or lunge, twist, lunge, twist, lunge, twist, lunge, twist, or reverse lunges, right? Or you can even do one of the squat pattern ones if you want. Not a problem. Just like to work lunges as well as squats, because really they are the 2 main ways that we move throughout the world. You figure you get in and out of cars, in and out of chairs, you pick things up from the ground. That's like a squatting, deadlifting sort of thing. You just do hip flexion standing in place to the metronome beat, right? Whatever works. Combinations. And lunging, of course, is walking and climbing stairs. And running, jogging, that sort of thing. Okay, that's it. Here we go, folks. We're done day 1 of week 11. It's fantastic, good work. I hope none of this was too challenging. As always, I'm always looking for your comments. What do you like? What do you not like? What works? What doesn't work? And some of you want to message me offline because you're finding that some of these exercises just aren't working for you. That's absolutely fine. I invite that. Please do, because there's going to be an exercise out there that will work for you. And if working out this way doesn't work for you, you know, doing like circuits or metronome training or lifting weights or anything that remotely looks like lifting weights, not a problem. There's a million different ways of doing it. Again, if you need help, I'm just a click away. My phone number, 647-677-6025. You can also find it online. Text, call, you can email at mike@fitin20.ca. Just give me a shout. Let me know what's going on, okay? Look forward to hearing from you.